Welcome to the third episode of the Speak for a Nation project. Today we're going to discuss about the ongoing unrest in Europe, the refugee crisis. That's why we invited Mufid Sayej, a Hungarian national and MA student, sharing with us his perspective, views and what he believes possible solutions of this crisis are.
Thank you, Nicolae, for inviting me to this great project. Well, I want to start with as we know, Europe's worst refugee crisis since the World War II have hit place. The influx of more than 400,000 immigrants in the period of the last 3 to 4 months is extraordinary. The number itself is bigger than the entire influx of last year. 62 to 63% of the refugees are asylum seekers, coming from places as war zones, terrorism and poverty. The majority is coming from Syria, followed by Afghanistan. 37 to 38% are illegal economic immigrants, coming from places such as Libya, Iran, Iraq, Sudan, Somalia, and many other countries as well. One misconception about Hungary is that it refuses to accept any immigrants at all, which I would argue is controversial and fallacious, because the Prime Minister Viktor Orban clearly stated that people should differentiate between asylum seekers and illegal economic immigrants, whom we do not accept at all. However, asylum seekers can be discussed. Now, Germany has the right to accept as many immigrants as it wishes, but at the same time, Hungary has the democratic right to refuse as many as it wishes. All what Mr. Orban asks for from fellow EU and other countries is the respect of the Hungarian perspective and the respect of the Hungarian people whom don't want this. The Hungarian parliament has agreed to spread troops across the borders for the protection of the Hungarian people, as many fear that some of the refugees belong to certain terrorist groups, which could be true or not. However, it also completely closed down the borders with Serbia and implied draconian and excessive laws for those crossing the borders illegally, as a charge of criminal act, as it's supposed to be. However, in the recent times, Hungary has allowed a significant number of people to cross through Hungary into Austria and wealthier nations and provided food, supply and protection until they reach their destination safely.
Mufid, what role do you think prejudice and discrimination have in a nation's policy making regarding refugees? Hence, do you think that many people opt to act more emotionally as opposed to rationally when it comes to refugees?
Well, obviously, they have an enormous and excessive amount of influence on policy making. However, I would like to outline that the regulations made by the Hungarian Parliament are only for the protection and satisfaction of the Hungarian people. And yes, people opt to act emotionally rather than rationally, and it's due to many reasons, such as the conservative minds of Mr. Orban, who clearly stated that he's afraid that these immigrants will ruin or will destroy the European civilization. As we notice, emotions have more significant impact and implications on ideologies and perspective on people in such sensitive cases.
They have also claimed that the best solution is to develop and invest in the places where these people are coming from, as opposed to keep accepting them and create infrastructure to integrate these people into the society. Would you agree with that?
Investing in places where such complex and uneasy conflicts arise is not simple, and it requires tremendous amounts of capital, human assistance and patience. And the liability mustn't fall on the European people or their countries, but rather on all the countries that are able to provide assistance. And such a solution for the current time being is unrealistic, because each country has its own problem, whether economically, politically or socially. And investing will only cause extra problems for those countries.
Overall, say you were the Prime Minister of your country, what steps would you see yourself undertaking in order to solve or cure the situation?
First of all, solutions to this case are extremely sensitive. However, I would do suggest the following. Persuading Greece and Italy to hand its borders to other EU countries to help better police them in order to create better immigration in terms of differentiating asylum seekers from illegal economic immigrants. Second of all, creating emergency funds by the European Union for those who are eligible to be sheltered by the European nation is necessary until their conflicts are resolved, so they can be sent back, or for those eligible can stay. However, the majority will probably feel better if they get the chance to return to their own countries.
How do you think in 10 years people will look back at this crisis? With what kind of attitude?
People's perspectives vary, and according to so would they judge and claim about the current crisis. For example, a conservative mind would feel devastated if the immigration has brought in too many people, and would regret such allowance from the governments. Other people might realize by then what they have created for themselves if they continue to let this enormous amount of immigrants to flow into Europe.
Okay, but that's for today. Mufid, thank you so much once again for sharing your knowledge and perspective to us. If you really like and enjoy watching our videos, please leave some ratings on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and YouTube channel, and stay tuned to the next video on the same issues.